Hey you guys, what's up? This is James here at Unique Perspectives. I actually have some work I'm going to be doing, but I actually had some extra time, so I wanted to knock out this video. I thought it was touching on something important. I touched on it a little bit earlier in the earlier video, but I want to go in more detail about this particular topic. And this is obviously talking about the foot fetish concept and really just maybe 3 or 4 things that I feel personally that just in a general sense, we foot guys need to be mindful not to do. So I know a lot of my videos are really either, talking about the positive aspects of the, foot fetish concept or even just the spectrum and things like that. But I just wanted to talk about 4 things maybe that I think maybe we need to definitely discipline ourselves not to do, because some things are just inappropriate and not uncalled for. And it really just doesn't help, especially with any potential relationships or connections we have with people, whether it's the workplace or just how we, operate in society. So I just wanted to knock out these 4 things. Number 1, I think one of the most important things is really just recognizing that obviously not everybody is into feet. So I think that there are a lot of us that there are times when we can differentiate between, or there's a lot of us that we can differentiate between somebody that, obviously we can have that kind of conversation with. Maybe a fellow guy that admires nice feet as well. We can obviously talk to them about that stuff because it's like, hey, we can relate to that sort of thing. But I think there are people, men in particular, that really have a hard time differentiating between when is it appropriate and inappropriate. There are some guys, for example, that as soon as they get in touch with really communicating with a lady they may find even mildly attractive, they will immediately jump into the conversation of feet. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't want to underestimate, different ladies and their personalities. There are some ladies that will accommodate you, whether you're trying to date them possibly, or whether you're just befriending them or you're just connecting with them. But there are some people that are going to be more apprehensive towards you. We have to keep in mind that, of course, the foot fetish concept or the admiring ladies with nice feet or whatever it is you want to call it, it has a negative stigma. And I'm not entirely sure why it hasn't, that negative stigma has disappeared. There's plenty of guys that admire a lady's breast or her backside or her legs, and it's not considered weird, but for some reason, it's the foot thing that's strange. And I've mentioned it in a previous video as well. People like Idris Elba and, there's Quentin Tarantino and even Elvis back in the day. Nobody really talks about or talked about their foot fetish or their admiration for feet because they have money, they have a status. So, if you don't have those things, people it doesn't really stand out. It's almost like it's acceptable. It's cute, it's nice, it's fine. But for the regular guy, we can be attacked. We can be kind of called names. So you want to just be mindful that you don't destroy your reputation with being known as the foot guy, So I'm not suggesting you never talk about it at all. Obviously, it's a part of you. I think that it's something that, you want to discuss, and you may want to discuss it with your wife. If you're married, you want to discuss it with your girlfriend. You want to discuss it with maybe guys that you can relate to and they have the same understanding. They're like, hey, they appreciate a lady that takes care of her hands, takes care of her feet, takes care of her skin. Like, I think it's a beautiful thing. It's a very feminine thing for women to, really just, I'm going to say almost be mindful to care for that feminine aspect of who it is that they are, that God has designed them to be. I think it's so beautiful when a woman cares about her appearance, not in a way to be obsessive, but just look at herself as like, she wants to take care of herself and she also wants to look nice for her potential partner or her partner. But we can ruin a lot of relationships if we dominate the conversation with talking about feet when people don't really care about that. So I just want to emphasize that first point. I think it's very important because even doing this YouTube channel, there are times when I've connected with guys through email, through chats, through Facebook, Instagram, and there's some guys that are like me that can kind of maintain like, hey, let's talk about feet and then we can talk about other things as well. And then there's some guys where they just go off the rails. They don't have any restraint. And, I feel for a lot of men because there are a lot of guys that are not getting a lot of that. They're not married, they're not dating, and so they don't have any outlet to really express themselves, especially with a woman, because they're not dating, they're not married, and which I think is really sad. It's tough for a lot of guys. I do care about what happens to men and men's mental health and things like that. I mean, one of the alarming things for me is just the suicide rate. To me is out of control. Men have a higher suicide rate by 3 or 4 times than women in our Western society, and it even gets higher when a guy's like 60 to 65. So I mention that a lot because I just want to share that, but we have to be very careful and cautious that we don't want to be obsessive over talking about feet with people. So that's point number 1. So I'm going to say number 2 is something that obviously I think we all should know because it's illegal. And that is really targeting people that are young. There are cases where there have been grown men, and I'm talking 40, 50 and up, have actually really taken interest in the feet of children. And I think maybe in the description, I'm going to put an article or a news article on YouTube that I believe it happened maybe 5 or 10 years ago, but it was very alarming. It was like a neighbor that knew this family, and this older guy, and I don't think he was married. I think he was just a friend of the neighbor, but yeah, he actually started to really assault a minor because of his foot fetish. That's what drove him, play with her feet or something like that inappropriately. So my number 2 is really just don't target minors, please. That is, it's horrific. It's terrible. It's illegal. It's something that, it's something that really does not even help the foot fetish, community, if you want to say that that's what the community is. But a lot of us guys that admire feet, there are a lot of guys that are, very restrained, very disciplined, that they obviously live busy lives. So the foot fetish or admiration for feet is just one of many aspects of their personality. But then you have guys like, the pervert that I'm talking about that becomes obsessive at the point where there's no restraint. And I'm going to talk about that in my final point. But yeah, I really want to encourage men, if anything, please be careful you're not shifting your interest away from women and moving it towards children. That's it's terrible. I think another point that's very interesting and very important is really just keeping in mind that we have to be mindful who is receptive of really exchanging photos and videos and things like that. I know that we guys, I don't know if you want to call it a gift or a curse, but we are very visually sensitive. That's why pornography and a lot of other things, strip clubs and girly magazines, are very appealing and attractive to us, and we get drawn into it because we are very visually stimulated very easily, and God designed us purposefully that way. We want to admire the beauty of our wife. We want to be motivated to touch her intimately and build a family, and we want to be drawn to her. But we have to also recognize that there are a lot of women out there, they do not want to send photos and videos to you, especially if they don't know you or they're not attracted to you. Now, I do want to say that there are women that are very open to that sort of thing. I've met these ladies, sometimes they know I have a thing for feet, and I don't even ask for pictures or anything like that. I'm just chatting with them. Hey, how you doing? And I say, oh, I went to the salon. I just got my feet done. Oh, hey, look. And they're already sending photos to me without me even asking, so that is available. That does happen. But I think we have to be mindful of the people that they don't like you like that. They're not interested in you romantically. They're not your friend. Or maybe you have a relationship in which that would be considered inappropriate. So you don't want to hop over that line and become inappropriate with somebody that either can be potentially a partner, or maybe it's your coworker, maybe it's somebody that that's married. You want to be very careful to be respectful with your interests, and you don't want to impose your interest on others, So obviously, if they're, you're being humorous and there's somebody that's receptive towards you, maybe there's a green light that they're giving you, that they're open to exchanging, giving you a video or a photo of their feet or something like that. I've met ladies like that. They think it's cute that a guy likes feet. That's really cool, but be careful that you understand that there's a difference between someone that considers that cute and adorable versus somebody that will consider that perverted, and you can end up winding up in jail if it's the wrong person. So just be mindful that you have to be disciplined when it comes to your interest in ladies with nice feet or your kind of feet. Some feet are just off limits, and it's important to keep that in mind. My last point, I think, is just as important as the other ones. If not, it's more important. And this is number 4. And this is really, don't touch anybody's feet that does not consent to that. I think that if you're Idris Elba or Elvis Presley or somebody with money and very attractive, obviously there are a lot of ladies, whether they're married or not, will have no issue with you doing that. However, if you're somebody, average Joe Schmo, and you're just a regular guy, you want to be careful to know that you don't have the luxury of doing that. You don't have the social status to do something like that. I know that there are some guys that are very handsome, very ladies' man. They can know when a woman is recognize when a woman is interested in them, so they can joke and start massaging a lady's feet, and she'll just go along with it. There's even some ladies that you might be taking out on a date, and you might talk about your interest in feet, and the first thing they're doing is tossing off their shoes and putting them in your lap so you can massage them, which is cool. But be careful that you don't go out and try to impose your interest in feet on other people, because the same lady that will think it's cute when it's somebody that she's attracted to that's willing to say that will put you in jail, or, call you a pervert and see you as a stalker or somebody weird if you do that and she's not attracted to you. And that is the weird dynamic that we men, especially in the West, we have to deal with our modern ladies today, is if you're attractive, certain things are considered cute. And if the lady doesn't find you attractive, then that's considered a stalker, and you're weird and you're strange. But I really want to say this because there is another article, and I might put the description, or I might actually keep the article or the news story in the description as well. But there was a young man, I think in San Diego or San Francisco, that, around 1 or 2 colleges, he was touching ladies' feet, harassing them, assaulting them. And, a lot of people were calling him out. And, even the journalist and news reporter of that in that area that came and approached his house and things like that. It was very embarrassing. Yeah, I think I will put it in the description so you guys can check it out. But there are a lot of guys that sneak into homes, sneak into houses, sneak into people's rooms and assault them just for their feet. They don't even break in to steal anything, but they will touch their feet. And I really want to just encourage men out there, please be disciplined and find yourself a wife, find yourself a lady that you're attracted to. If you need to, build yourself up to be the type of man that a woman wants to be with. You know, have some integrity, you know, make sure you exercise enough and look nice, have a great personality, have things that help you stand out. But you want to just be careful not to put yourself in a place where you're at a disadvantage and you're just somebody that is lonely, you're quiet, you don't have anything going on for yourself. And yeah, you're just having a difficult time really attracting somebody. And then you have all these desires. God wants us to be married, you know, so it's just important. I really wanted to share that. This is James here at Unique Perspectives. If you have any thoughts, please comment. Feel free to contact me as well. I believe my Facebook and Instagram information is in my bio and my YouTube. And yeah, like and subscribe. And please, I'll see you guys on the next one. God bless you guys and take care. Peace.